hear me in the back? We're all good? All right, so I like to start my seminar by making sure that nobody is going to fall asleep. So I do that by giving you out candy. Yeah, sugar here. Share. And just so we're clear, this candy comes from America. So there's here, you share it together. There's Almond Joys, there's Milk Duds, there's loads of sugar and unhealthy products. Feel free to share and mix and match between each other, okay? There you go, you share that between each other. Here. Oh, I'll give you some extras. Some fell on the floor, enjoy it. There you go. Just one? Okay, there you go.
Is it sugar-free or?
Oh, it's not sugar-free. This is loaded with sugar. Ain't nobody falling asleep in my seminar. If you do, I will toss you some more sugar, okay?
Wow.
You guys can share that together. There you go. You're very welcome. If you want more, just stick up your hand. I'll throw you some, okay? All right, so let's get started. Now, they only gave me about an hour, and we're 8 minutes in, so I'm going to talk really fast. So if you want to make notes, write them down. Normally, I have a little bit more of an interactive presentation where I ask you questions throughout, get you a little bit more involved, but because of the time crunch, I'm going to be talking a little bit more quickly, okay? No questions. No questions. No, I'm just kidding. If you have a question, just toss it up. I'll try to answer it throughout. So we're going to do Meet the CEO. I'm going to explain a little bit about me, some common marketing questions that most offices have when we start going down this path for marketing. I'm going to cover the top 16 things you need to be doing for your office in order. Some common marketing mistakes. I call them mistakes on purpose, not mistakes. Next, I'm going to cover top marketing FAQs, a little bit about Dr. Marketing, and then towards the end, I'll cover some questions and case studies, okay? All right. So, explain a little bit about me. That's me. I'm the guy giving you candy. You just came in. I have a bag of candy for you. Don't fall asleep in my seminar. All right, give some to that woman at the back. Oh, you only took one? Come on. There you go. You have to give her some in the back. All right, so I've been running Dr. Marketing for 10 years, but I've been in the healthcare industry for 15, running telecom, advertising, large-scale implementation for telecom tracking products for the government. So pretty fun stuff that I get to do. But about, I don't know, what was it, about 10 years ago, I decided to launch Dr. Marketing and just kind of like do it on my own. So I don't have to work for anybody else. No questions? Perfect. We're moving on. All right, next, common marketing questions. There are 5 questions that come up whenever we start going down this path for advertising. Everyone always asks, how much money do I spend? Clearly you want to know that. I was walking in and somebody was like, oh, I know you. How much money do I spend? He's like, I know who they were. They were wanting a quote, right? So like they obviously asked how much money they should be spending. We hear that question literally every day. What platform should I use to market? Google? Facebook? Should I advertise on dating websites? Not getting any matches? Swipe right for a new smile. Surprisingly, it works. But you will be targeting men between the ages of like 35 and 60, so lots of cosmetic procedures. Who do I promote my ads to? Demographically and geographically. How do I rank higher on Google? And then my personal favorite, what happens if I do this and it doesn't work? So this is your one and only chance. Does anybody have any questions outside of this? Perfect. No, let's move on. All right, so top 16 things you need to do for your office in order. Very first thing you need to take a look at are domains. Now there are 2 types of domains. You've got business name domains and you've got keyword-based domains. Business name domains are exactly what they sound like. BrandonDentistry.com. That's how people who know you are able to find you. A keyword-based domain is tied to a specific service location or industry. So that would be something like TorontoDentist.com, DentistInMississauga.com, Dentist near you who deals with kids.com. It's not your business name, it's just something that you have, right? I've got one office, his name is YoungTeeth.com. It's a peds dentist in Palo Alto, okay? So when it comes to business name domains, you need to protect your identity. There are suffixes. The ending of a domain is a suffix. .com, .net, .biz, .me, .dental, .rocks, .news, .io. Like, there's tens of thousands of different ones. There's only 6 that are most recognized in Canada. .com, .net, .biz, .info, .org, and .ca. So what you're going to do is you're going to register specifically your business name for one of those 6 or all 6 of those primary suffixes. All 6. You do it for 2 reasons. 1, the average person, 99.99999% of the time, if they do not know your suffix, will use one of those 6. brandondentistry.org, right? And then they'll all redirect to the same place. The second reason you do it, the average person, when they're registering a business name, will register one of those 6 primary suffixes. So if my name is brandondentistry.com, somebody else wants to register brandondentistry.ca, if it's available, they'll do it. Doesn't matter if I still own Brandon Dentistry. They'll open another Brandon Dentistry somewhere else. Okay? So what you want to do is take the ability away from them by registering all 6 primary suffixes. Everyone's with me on that? Okay. Now when it comes to keyword-based domains, you don't do that. There's nothing there to protect, right? So if you have your domain just like Mississauga Dentist and that's not your actual business name, there's nothing there to protect. Don't bother wasting money registering multiple domains just for the sake of owning them. Which brings me to my next point, keyword-based domains. Do not register multiple domains for the sake of owning them. They don't do anything for optimization. So, cosmetic dentist in Mississauga, Invisalign dentist near you, Invisalign near you, straightenyourteeth.com, like all of these domains, Google doesn't care. The only thing Google cares about is that there is a domain and there is a website. Everything else that's forwarded does nothing for search engine optimization, so don't waste your money registering multiple domains because it doesn't do anything for you, okay? Now, for the only reason why I'm recommending you do that for your business name is because it protects your identity, okay? Now, every time you register a domain, your information becomes public knowledge, which means if I'm a spammer, I could literally just go online, find your contact information, your personal information, your business information that you use to register the domain. I would sell it to 1,000 people and spam the hell out of you until the end of time. So to prevent that from happening, we add a security blanket to the domain that redacts personal information. Now, domain costs are usually 15 or to 30 bucks a year. Like, they're not expensive. Security is between 5 and 20 bucks a year, okay? So each domain, if you register a keyword-based domain, it's like 50 bucks a year with security. If you're doing business names, it's a couple $100. Okay, so it's not expensive to do this. Okay, no questions? Good, we're moving on. Next, emails. How many of you know for a fact your email's HIPAA compliant? PIPEDA compliant? HIPAA and PIPEDA. You know for a fact your email is. Okay, how many of you use one of these providers to send emails to your patients? Or MSN, Hotmail, emails like that, right? So what I'm going to suggest is that you don't, because the average email that goes into spam is about 70%, which means if you get an email from a patient and your staff emails the patient back, like if you get a lead from your website and then your staff emails it back, 70% of that time, that email is going straight into the patient's spam box. And it's not because of something you did or it's not because of something the patient did. That's just how free email accounts work, okay? So an email, like a spammer sets up an email, spams 1,000 people, sets up an email, spams 1,000 people. So when an incoming mail server gets an email from what they perceive as spam, they're just gonna be like, Gmail again, spam, Yahoo again, spam, okay? Now with custom emails, it's only 12%. Custom emails are like info@brandondentistry.com. Mainly because those are paid email accounts, so they're treated differently from incoming mail servers. Mainly because you can set up security measures on the back end of it to authenticate yourself. So when you send an email, the mail server says, oh, you're authenticated? Oh, you have security? Perfect, inbox. Okay? So if you don't have a custom email, set one up. They also look much more professional. Imagine an email, dentaltemp101@gmail.com, and you're emailing a patient asking for medical records. Do you think they're going to respond to that? I am Use Dentist. No, nobody's going to respond to that, okay? Proper English, okay? But what we want to do is set up something a little bit more professional. info@coultersmilldental.com as an example, okay? This way, if you're asking for medical records, they're more likely to respond to it. Primarily because they can take your suffix, pop it into Google, and they know you are who you say you are. But they can't do that from a Gmail account. Everyone's with me on that? Okay. Now, with medical grade emails, there are some things that you want to add into it. One, data backup. So this way, if you accidentally delete something, you can restore it. Malware protection fights against viruses. It's like, hey, download our invoice here. right? And then you click on it, it's like a Trojan virus. If somebody does that, like if you accidentally click on one of those emails, the software will make sure that the virus doesn't go to your computer and your network, it just stays in the email. Anti-phishing software means that if you get an email from a known spammer, your incoming mail server says, oh, you again? Bye-bye. Just automatically spams them. Next is email encryption. All outgoing messages from Google's G Suite program and Microsoft Office 365 are the only systems that auto-encrypt every outgoing message automatically. Okay? How encryption used to work is that if I wanted to send you a message, I'd have to log into a third party. They'd email you saying, Brandon emailed you, you have to log in to see it, and then you have to log into the third party, reply to it, and then I get an email saying that you replied, and then I have to log back into it. That's how encryption used to work. Not anymore. Okay? Desktop and mobile integration means if you read and reply to something on your phone, it's read and replied to on the opposite device. 50 gigs of storage is enough for 250,000 emails. Standard emails, if you're sending patient records, it's like 30,000 maybe. Okay? No questions? Perfect. Next, your website. I'm assuming all of you have a website, and you're here to learn about marketing, which is great. Now, websites. How websites have been designed over the last 30 years is basically a website design company builds a server and then builds websites for those servers. Now, historically, web design companies do not make a lot of money on website hosting. So what they have to do is they have to build better websites with better servers, better technology, better security, faster loading times, better formatting. Now, they don't give that to you, right? You have to pay to upgrade. If you don't pay to upgrade, what ends up happening is your website develops errors. Like, you click on your website, and it doesn't properly load. Or there's a widget that's broken. Or security license isn't renewed. Or, oops, 404 page error because one of the links got disconnected. I'm sure all of you have seen mistakes like this on your website or on somebody's website over the span of your lifetime. So, when you are building a website, there are some things that you need to keep in mind. First, you want to pay attention to the structure of the website. The structure has to do with things like wireframing. Have any of you ever seen blueprints for a house or a building before? It's exactly the same concept, but for technology for the website. It basically lets you map out how the website is going to look. Okay? After that is the design and the content. So now you're going to start developing the 3D model, right? It's like what the website's actually going to look like. So you're going to start populating it with content and colors and pictures and videos. Then what you're going to do is you're going to update the technology. So the technology allows you to say, if I click this, it goes here. If I click that, it goes there, right? So you want to pay attention to all three of these things when you're building the site. And you have to remember that if you were going to have a brand new page, or if you're going to ask your web designer to manipulate bits and pieces of this, they're not just going to go in and just say, hey, here's a new button, and then all of a sudden it takes 2 seconds to build. You have to understand, you have to build the piece, you have to populate it, and then you have to make sure that it works. So you would think that website design, you could update it in 2 seconds. It's not that easy, right? So if you do try to use systems like WordPress and whatnot, they do have plug and play. You can easily integrate them. However, when you do stuff like that, people tend to forget that there are different websites, different devices to use your website. So usually they build it on the desktop and then they forget to update it on the tablet or mobile version. What ends up happening is that you start to develop problems on your website, okay? So some things to keep in mind. Make sure that your website is simple, okay? Now, I'm not saying like keep everything on one page, but what I mean is don't be scrolling 15 times to get to the bottom of the page. The average person scrolls 4 times. You want to review the website all the time. Now, I don't mean all the time, like every day. I mean like every 6 months, okay? This is not my business, right? I mean like your dentist office is not my business. Like I don't know if you have changes to staff. I don't know if you have technology updates or hour changes or contact information changes unless you tell us, right? So you have to be the one to review what is available for your website online and then communicate that effectively to your web design company, okay? You want to test it out. So a lot of times the pieces of technology, we can test out buttons and things like that. But what we can't do is make sure that the hyperlinks are still active or connected to the right place. A lot of times, if you link to, let's just say like an association's blog post, okay? If they take that blog post down, and we're just gonna assume that that link is still active. right? Because we never check hyperlinks. Marketing companies historically don't do that, right? So you can't, so again, you can't solely rely on the web design company to do the job for you. Sometimes you have to be the one to say, hey, there are updates that need to be done, okay? Next, we want to optimize the website. Now, there are two types of optimization. You've got static and you've got dynamic. Static are keywords that are built per page, meaning I have, let's say, one page for root canals, one page for implants, one page for pediatrics, one page for cleaning, and one page for everything else that you do. There are specific keywords that are attached only to those pages. That will help those pages show up online. So if I go online and type in missing tooth or dental implant, the dental implant page will show up. If I go online and type in dental cleaning or hygiene or scaling, the hygiene page will show up. Everyone see how the static keywords work, right? Dynamic keywords are a combination to a static, meaning these are keywords that are tied to a location or a street address or to somewhere near you, right? It's an addition to a static. So it would be something like emergency dentist near you. Emergency dentist being static, near you being dynamic. Emergency dentist open now. Emergency dentist who deals with kids. Emergency dentist who deals with chipped teeth. Emergency dentist in Mississauga. Okay? So every static keyword could have as many as 500 different dynamic combinations attached to it. Okay? This is why search engine optimization is historically a paid service, because you're hoping that the person doing optimization is connecting every static keyword with as many possible combinations to a dynamic combination, okay? Now, you do have to make sure that specifically the static keywords are page specific, okay? Page specific. You want to draw the right traffic to the right page. What you don't want to have happen is when somebody goes online and types in peds dentist, that your implant page is optimized for pediatrics, right? Or your Invisalign page is optimized for your About Us. Because then when the patient lands on it, they're going to be like, what the hell is this? This isn't what I'm looking for, right? And then what are they going to do? They're going to bounce out of your website. They're going to leave. The more people who bounce, more people who leave, the lower you get ranked online. So draw the right traffic to the right page. Next, you want to add and replace. So people search differently at different points in the year for different things. In the springtime, they search for teeth whitening primarily related to weddings. In September, it's related to kids going back to school, okay? So you have to make sure that your keywords are updated on your website. You can't just put keywords on your website and then expect them all to perform the same at all points in the year. So if I put like teeth whitening for brides on your website, by like June or July, I'm going to remove that keyword and put like teeth whitening going back to school, because you want all the keywords on your website to rank really well. And if some of them don't rank well, the lower you get ranked online. So you have to remove and add keywords as you go along. Then you have to combine your words. So we combine them by creating something called a meta phrase. A meta phrase is a combination between static and dynamic words that creates a question. I'm sure all of you type questions into Google. How do I fix translucent teeth, right? How do I fix chipped teeth from home? What is a dentist, right? So you want to have a bunch of these questions, and you're going to answer these questions through a blog, right? Now a blog, everyone knows what it is, but historically they don't know how it works, okay? You're basically going to give Google 3 pieces of information. You're going to tell it who you are, where you are, what you do. I'm a dentist in Mississauga who deals with emergencies in kids, or list all the services that you have. So the next time somebody in your area looks for a dentist looking for that service, Google knows to have your blog show up to that individual. Is everyone with me on that? Okay. Now, with a blog, you have to build it out through something called an RSS feed. Okay? If your blog is not built through this piece of technology, Google doesn't care. Okay? So when you publish a new piece of content on your website, if it's not built in through an RSS, it's like adding a Word doc to your website. No one cares. Google doesn't care. Google won't even know it's there. So you build it through an RSS feed, and what that does is it sends a signal to search engines to say, hey, we just published new content, come back and scan me. Scanned, indexed right away. Okay? Now, once you build out the back end, you're going to start categorizing keywords to find out what you should be writing about. Are you just going to write on a whim and say, hey, let's write about toothbrushes today? What's the purpose of doing that? No one cares. So what you have to do is you have to look at something called Google Search Console, like an Xbox console, right? Google Search Console. It's a free system you plug into your website that allows you to track all the keywords you have and how they rank. Right? So this way you can literally categorize them and say, what are my top ranking questions? What are my top ranking keywords? Then that's what you're going to write about. But you're not going to do it from a 2-year time span. You're going to look at the keywords and how they rank over the period of 3 to 6 months, because you want to write about content of what people are searching for today, not what they were searching for 2 years ago. Right? Because if I ran a 2-year span on this system, it'll give me data from the last 2 years. And so you could be writing about content that is no longer relevant. Does that make sense? Okay, so you want to look at the keywords and you want to categorize them. Next, you want to write your content. It's not hard. You can use ChatGPT to write it and then just modify it, right? Just say like, hey, write me content, use these keywords, make it hysterical and clinically accurate. Perfect, make it 1,500 words and away you go. Right? Now you're going to have to read it because ChatGPT, it sucks most of the time unless you know how to prompt it properly. So when you are writing blog posts, every 2 to 4 weeks, okay, to keep that RSS feed alive. If you don't post every 2 to 4 weeks, the RSS feed becomes stagnant. Then when you do post again on it, Google's really petty, they won't care. So you have to keep the RSS feed active by posting every 2 to 4 weeks. You also want to make sure you're including at least 50 keywords. This allows your blog post to be found. Okay? So when I say 50 keywords, it's a combination between static and dynamic. So don't just write dental implants 50 times. Dental implant maintenance, dental implant surgery, dental implant costs, single tooth dental implant full arches, all on X, right? Like whatever it is. Add a bunch of keywords in there as long as the keywords are relevant to the content on the page. Okay? So if you're writing about implants, don't all of a sudden include keywords for teeth whitening. Because then when a patient comes there for teeth whitening, what the hell is this? Right? So again, right traffic, right page. Okay? You want to have at least between 750 and 1,500 words, and you want to include some images. Okay? Now, they could be personal images of you and a patient, or they could be stock photos with your color filter over it. Okay? Next, optimization. Where to optimize? There are specific places you need to optimize on your website. First is in the tab of the actual browser itself. These are all places you need to include keywords. Next is the URL suffix. So after the .com or .ca, what's there are typically keywords. Okay? After that is the navigation tab. Okay? So if you've ever Googled something like somebody's business and seen like home, about, services, contact as like sub-tabs under their listing, that's what that is. Okay? Then there's the page header. This, in my opinion, is like one of the most important things that Google looks at. Now, there's about 200 things they look at: technology, formatting, reviews, where the keywords are placed. This is like a top 10 item, this one. It's called an H1 header. There's 8 up to H6, so H1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is called an H1 header. It's one of the most important things Google looks at. It needs to be static and dynamically optimized. So I could just say bad breath, right? But then Google's like, okay, what about bad breath? Bad breath solutions, bad breath treatment, bad breath because you ate garlic. Like, what about bad breath, right? So you have to specify what it is and where it is, okay? Next is called the page summary. So this provides Google with a synopsis of what the page is ultimately going to be about. Then what you're going to do is rank the content on the page according to how much traffic it generates. So should causes, symptoms, or treatments go first? Well, the only one who knows that is Google Search Console. So this is why this particular page talks about treatment, because 90% of the people that were looking for bad breath in Victoria were looking for treatment. So after that was causes, and after that was symptoms. So that's how you should rank the content on your page. You want to appeal to the masses. What's the primary reason why someone comes to this page? And then that should be at the top of the page. Make sense? Okay. Next is something called the title and description. In my opinion, this is the #1 thing Google looks at. You can manipulate this for every single page of your website. If you Google anything, you will see a title and a description for every single search result. The title's like 60 characters in big letters, and then you see a short blurb of what that title is about. Everyone know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. You can manipulate that for every single page of your website. So what I see a lot of times is somebody would say like, Brandon Dentistry root canals, Brandon Dentistry dental implants, Brandon Dentistry pediatric dentist as like the title. Okay, but you have to understand you're writing the title for 3 people. You're writing it for yourself so it's clinically accurate. You're writing it so a patient would click on it, and you're writing it for Google so it has to be keyword rich, right? So as an example, if I'm writing a title for an implant page, I would say, missing a tooth, get a dental implant. And then the description would read, whether you need 1 tooth, 2 teeth, or a full arch of dental implants, call us for a consultation and pricing. We can help, something like that. Okay, so if anybody is searching for dental implants, a free consultation, or dental implant 1 tooth, or like that title and description will help you show up higher in the search results. Everyone with me on that, right? You can manipulate that for every single page. Google basically lifts it from your website and puts it on the search results. Very important, okay? And then next is something called local business schema. This is for Google Maps, Bing Maps, Apple Maps, right? This allows search engines to be able to see local businesses and present them to local searchers. So if I, as an example, search for a dentist near me, your office would show up above your office because you're closer to me as a searcher. Then tomorrow, if I search up dentist near me, your office will show up above her office. That's how it works, okay? Google wants to show relevant businesses to where people are actually located. Now, why is optimization important? Well, because you can have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of keywords, and what you need to do is you put one of those keywords in, and what you want to have happen is you have one page specifically show up talking about ortho. Now, the reason their homepage shows up, you can't really see it because it's super, super fuzzy. But that keyword right there says orthodontics, and that's their primary page. So when we were doing the title and description for them, we found out that orthodontics was one of their sought-after words. So we simply added the word orthodontics in the title and had one page specifically related to orthodontics in their location. So if somebody types in ortho near me, all they have to do is click on it, find what they're looking for in one click. Super easy? In theory, right? In theory. Okay, next is Google Maps. So what you need to do is you need to claim your business on Google Maps. All you have to do is Google yourself, and it says literally, you can't read it, but it says claim this business. Okay? Click the button, follow the verification steps, then you got ownership of your business. Then what you're going to do is you're going to update it. Click the button, it says update right there. So when you update it, this will take anywhere between 2 and 5 hours to do. You're updating pictures, contact information, services, hours, your demographic and geographic details about your business. It will take a little bit of time to put it together, okay? Now, once you've done that, Google will start having you show up more. Now, this particular piece is for people who have multiple locations. So if anybody has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 locations, Google's going to give you access to another system that allows you to categorize all of them. It's pretty convenient. Now, this part's really important. Your Maps page, if you scroll down, has an announcements section. Okay, this allows you to create social media posts directly attached to your Google Maps page. It's like writing a little blog post right on your map that's Google optimized, right? Super convenient. And then respond to reviews through this same platform. Now, you can't respond to a review by saying, thanks, Susan. Boom, you just broke HIPAA compliance, she can sue you. Because you just admitted that you knew who she was, even if her name is listed in the review. Stupid, right? Very stupid. Because what she could do is she could go back, remove her name, screenshot that you said Susan, even though her name just says S, and then she could send it to her lawyer. Don't fall for that. Do not call them by their name. Do not mention any procedure. Just thank you so much for the review. Positive or negative, we want to make sure everyone has a great experience. You know, for the best dental care, make sure you call Brandon Dentistry. I'm not a dentist, by the way. It's just a lab coat. It's part of the brand. Does anybody have any questions on the review response? One question.
If we've done that before, can we go and edit it?
No. That's a good question. Don't move the dead body. You ever heard that term? Of course you have. Don't go back and change it, because what's going to happen is when you change your response, it's going to proc an email to go out to the person you left the response to. So if in that time they had a bad experience in your office, they're going to go and change their review to update it. So leave it alone. Just do it or fix it going forward. Okay? Good question. Now, how many of you use Bing? I know 30% of you are lying, because it's the default browser for Microsoft. And when you're Googling something, you're probably Binging it. You probably don't even realize because Google and Bing look so similar. So the next time you're on a Google, or next time you're Googling something, look in the top left corner and it might actually say Bing, which is pretty interesting. So we want to set up Bing Places because 30% of the world still uses it. So Bing Places is just like Google Maps, just for Bing. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to log into your Bing using your Google credentials. Then what you're going to do is you're going to sync Google and Bing together. So Bing is just going to say, give me everything, Google. Okay? And then that'll take 10 seconds. And then once that's done, you go into your profile, you update it just to make sure that everything transferred over properly. That process takes less than 5 minutes to do. Then you have a Bing profile in 5 minutes. It's like the easiest thing you can do today. Okay? Next, chatbot. I know some of you use a chatbot. Some of you hate using it. Majority of you probably hate using it. Understand a chatbot is a conversion tool, just like a click to call now button, a web form, a book online, or a chatbot. Now there's different types of chat systems. You can have a live chat responder. You can have an AI system that writes responses for you. My personal favorite is My personal favorite is preset responses, preset answers. This way there's no thinking involved from anybody. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to basically set up all the different scenarios. And the scenarios could be grouped together based on categories like cosmetic, endo, perio, ortho, or it can be specific procedures. Then what you're going to do is you're going to build a story for each one of these groups. Then what you're going to do is you're going to tie them together. So if I go down this column, it talks about cosmetics. At the end, it says, do you want to book an appointment for cosmetics, learn about veneers, teeth whitening, or something else? The patient says, well, why don't you tell me about veneers? The bot says, okay, here's the info on veneers. Now, do you want to book an appointment for veneers, learn about bonding, teeth whitening, or something else? And it continues to do that until the patient says, all right, let's book the appointment. So then they say, okay, perfect. Give me your name, email, phone, best time to call, and primary concern. So then you get an email that looks like this. It says, hey, Brandon, thanks so much for communicating with us. Here's the contact information and the chat history of the person who's reached out to you. Please give them a call. Okay, now I said please give them a call. Okay, I didn't say email them back. Why don't you email patients back? What's the percentage of emails that go into spam box? 70%. So how many of you seen Wolf of Wall Street? Come on, I know most of you have. That's an amazing movie. Leo DiCaprio, come on. Okay, he says such a good line in there. Pick up the phone and start dialing. Pick up the phone and start dialing. It's your business. I get it, you're a dentist, but it's sales. Sales 101. Someone emails you, you call them back. Hey, I just got your email. Oh, wow, that was fast. Yeah, let's book the appointment. I promise you, you're gonna handle a lot more patients if you call the patients back and don't email them. Call them back. Always, always, always. And this is how the chatbot functions. So you've got your question and a series of responses. All you have to do is select the response that's the most appropriate, and it takes you down a pathway. Every pathway asks for your contact information. Super easy, right? Okay. Next, build your website popularity. The best way to do this is through directories. Now, there's lots of different directories out there. So what we have to do is we have to find them all and update your contact information on them. Whatever we just put on Google, we have to add to the directory. If it's not the exact same, there can't be a period out of place, even in the name of your business. That last item called a website URL or a backlink doesn't count. A backlink is a link that leads to your website from an alternative source, not from Google. The more backlinks you have, the higher you get ranked. But the caveat is that the information attached to the backlink needs to be accurate according to Google. If it's not, the link doesn't count. Okay? So what you're going to do instead of doing this one-on-one with every directory out there, because there's literally thousands of them that you could be on, you're going to work with something called an aggregator. An aggregator is basically a business that controls groups of directories. So there's different ones. There's local aggregators, national ones, and industry-specific ones. Okay? And so some are free, some are paid, some are commercial that we can work with, some are consumer that you can work with. Okay, but basically you want to work with as many aggregators as you can to push your information out to as many places as possible. Okay? Super important. So just so we're clear, Yellow Pages is technically an aggregator. They work with about 12 directories. Yelp is one of the directories that works with Yellow Pages. Have any of you ever heard of Yext, Vendasta, Localese, Newstar, Foursquare? These are all aggregators. Okay? Now, why do you want to do this? Well, because linking is super important on Google. It's like a top 10 item, but you have to do linking in multiple ways. Okay, so one of the ways that you're going to do it is you're going to do internal linking, page to page. Now, I'm not talking about navigation tabs. This is in the content that you have. You have to go from page to page of your site. Next is external linking. This goes from your page to an external source. And then you've got directory links that go from a third party back to your website. That's what a backlink is, okay? Now, you do this through something called Google Search Console to track, sorry, you don't do this through it, but you track it through Google Search Console. It's the same system we use to track keywords. Another part of that exact same system allows you to track links and where they are. So if I look at that, if I'm your marketing company and I look at Google Search Console, I can see all the keywords, but then if I go to the links, I can say, okay, well, why do you not have many links on here? Okay, well, there's probably, you didn't add it, or there's wrong information associated to it, so let's go fix it, right? Next, website accessibility. I'm sure all of you might have seen a little guy like this on a website recently. Sometimes he's in a wheelchair, question mark, pair of glasses, something like that. This is called an accessibility feature. Basically, the Canadian and US governments back in February of last year banded together to create something called the Website Accessibility Guidelines Act. Anybody ever heard of it? It basically means that if somebody has a disability and you don't have an accessible website for them, they can sue you for it. So, there is a feature that we can add into the website that allows you to manipulate the content, look, feel, structure, font, and every piece of it. I can have the website read to you if you're blind, right? Like we can increase the font if you have vision impairment. You're colorblind, we can change the colors. If you're dyslexic, we can change the font. We can increase the font size. It can do a lot of cool things. The objective here is to make sure that anybody can use your website, no matter the disability, okay? That's its primary function. Its secondary function is that it makes your website technologically advanced. The more advanced you make your website, the higher you get ranked on Google. It has the same impact as a chatbot by adding it to your website. Gives you bonus marks for optimization. Okay? Next, reviews. Now there are 4 ways to generate reviews. The first and best way is through a survey. You basically send a survey to your patients after the appointment. The patient clicks the survey, goes to your website, they complete the survey. If the survey scores above 90%, it says, thanks so much, please leave me a review on Google. If it scores below 90%, the survey is smart enough to say, oh, have a great day, right? This way it keeps any negative comments offline. Next, assign in the waiting room. This one's really easy. Literally, just like a QR code that says, hey, please leave me a review. Right? Scan it right there. You can put it in every operatory. One of my clients has it on a ceiling panel, so when you lean back in his chair, it says, leave me a review right on his ceiling. He's got 1,200 reviews today. Ask for it during the appointment. Maybe. I don't know, pick and choose your moments, right? If you're leaning the patient back in the chair to do a root canal, don't be like, hey, can I get 5 stars? Right? Or like, hey, I know I just gave your kid 6 fillings and it cost you $3,000, but can I get 5 stars and here's your bill, right? Pick and choose your moments if you're going to do something like that. Okay, and then the last way is to send an email. So if you're uncomfortable with the 3, you can always just say, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you today. Here's my Google page. Would you mind leaving me a review? Okay? Now, you don't just put them on Google because Google likes diversification. So pass some people to Yelp, to Yellow Pages, RateMDs, Better Business Bureau, Rateabiz, there's so many different places. Now, Google, very important, doesn't just index the review, they also index the response, okay? So when you're getting reviews, let's say you have 100 reviews and they all just say, thanks, good dentist, great job. But then I have one review that says that I was the best dentist in Mississauga, my office will always show up above yours, because the content in my review is better than yours. So on Google Maps, if you're ever wondering, why does this person show up always above me? It's because the reviews themselves are better written than yours, okay? And they're probably also responding to the reviews better than you are, okay? So when you're asking patients to leave you a review, you have to kind of treat it like a joke. You can't say, hey, leave me a review, make sure you include some keywords, okay? I'm gonna go to my next patient, goodbye. Right? The patient's going to think you're an ass. Don't do that. So what you're gonna have to do is kind of treat it like a joke. Be like, hey, it was so nice meeting you today. Would you just like go online and, I don't know, leave me a 5-star review? Just say I'm the best or something. You don't have to, but I don't know, just say I'm the best. Now the page is gonna be like, hey, you know what, he actually was real. Yeah, all right, and then they'll go online and then they'll genuinely leave you a good review, okay? Now, there are 4 people that can leave reviews. Your patients, your staff, vendors, people you buy stuff from, and you and your family. Show of hands, how many people have left a review for themselves? Why? There's no rule that says that you can't. Oh, it's unbecoming, or people are going to judge. Who cares? You could probably name 10 people in your phone list right now that'll give you 10 reviews on Google. Yelp, Yellow Pages, RateMDs, you could probably generate 50 reviews today. There's no rule that says that you can't generate a review for yourself. Just make it genuine. Don't go online being like too on the nose with being like, hey, I am the best in Mississauga. But be like, hey, my name is Dr. Brandon. I own Brandon Dentistry, right? I like to do procedures related to kids, cosmetic, and orthodontics. If you need anything, please give my office a call. I'd be happy to help. Genuine review, okay? Next, Google Ads. Now, the first thing that we want to do with Google Ads is we want to plug your Google Analytics directly into your ads. I will come back to that point in just a second. Next, we want to tell Google the list of procedures you're going to promote for. Teeth whitening, orthodontics, root canals, emergencies, whatever it is, okay? Google's going to say, okay, well, attached to each one of those services is a list of keywords. So what do you want to do with these keywords? And so you kind of have to go through them and say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I do want to show up for free dental consultations, but I don't want to show up for ODSP, as an example, right? So then what you have to do is you have to pick the best time of day. So when do you want the ads to appear? When do you want the keywords to be procced? And so the best time of day to promote is from 6 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, Monday through Sunday. Yes, your office is not open all the time, but you have to understand that people don't search for a dentist at 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm at a conference right now. I'm going to be on the floor. I have to go take my kids to baseball, right? I don't have time until 9 o'clock at night as the average person, right? So who has a family. You know, maybe people have different responsibilities, different schedules, so you want to advertise during when the majority of people are searching, 11 to 6, 7 days a week. People know you're not going to pick up the phone at 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, right? So if they call, most of the time they're going to leave a message, right? And then you just call them back the next day. Now, it's 11 o'clock on a Saturday. Somebody types in, you know, best teeth whitening provider near me. Now, your ad could be a simple ad that says, hey, need teeth whitening, call today. Or you could come back to the Google Analytics and start making complex ads. Because remember, people search differently at different points in the year. So you can have an ad in September that says, hey, going back to school, get a brighter smile for class. You can have a different teeth whitening ad in the springtime that says, hey, big life event coming up, get a brighter smile today. You can have another one come up that tracks people's driving schedules that says, hey, no time for in-office whitening, try our take-home whitening kits. So you can start to appeal more to the person's psychology of who they are. It's a complex ad, okay? And you use that by using your Google Analytics data. Okay, then it's your budget. Big question, how much money do you spend on ads? Well, how many services do you want to promote for, right? You have to have a budget that supports what your end goal is. How many patients do you want, right? Now, if you don't have a budget that supports that, understand you can't bid on the right times of day, or you can't bid on the keywords that historically are able to convert. So you have to understand, like, let's just say the rule of thumb is every $500 is 2 services, okay? But the services are categorized in 1. So meaning I have a group for cosmetic, I'll promote for veneers and teeth whitening for $500, right? And let's say I have another category, another $500 could be Invisalign. Would I spend $500 on Invisalign? Typically, no. I would go into Invisalign with like a $1,500 budget because you have all the other dentists and orthodontists in the area also promoting for those words. So you have to make sure your budget is appropriate based on the services you're looking for, okay? Now, historically, what you want to do is, or what you want to get is between 2 to 8 times what you're putting into it. So the average dental office across Canada makes about $900,000 a year, give or take, okay? If you spent $1,000 on Google Ads, okay, you get $3,000 back in business at the end of the month. on a $900,000 business, would you notice $3,000 in your budget being added to it based on collections? Probably not. So if you have aggressive growth goals, spend according to what your budget is. You can't expect to spend $1,000 and get 10 grand in business, 20 grand in business, right? Like, you have to think about that. Set realistic expectations. 2 to 8 times is historically what you want to go for, okay? Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. Next, Facebook and Instagram. Okay. So what you want to do with Facebook is you want to update it, okay? Update the cover picture, the contact information, the hours of operation, right? You want to make sure the profile is complete. Then you do the same thing on Instagram, and then you tie the two of them together, okay? Because they share the same back-end system. Then what you're going to do is you're going to set up the automated response system. So it's a very simple chat system. It says, hey, welcome to our page. Here's our hours and our contact information. How can we help? Okay? So when someone comes to your page, it just pops right up. Then what you're going to do is you're going to set up the Facebook Pixel. This is an analytics system that tracks demographic and geographic details of the people who engage with you. So I can literally see not who you are personally, like your name and your address, but I could see, you know, your age, gender, marital status, kids, job, stuff like that. This way, I can actually build content based on the top categories of the people who engage with me. It's mostly women between the ages of 30 and 50, right? It's mostly men, single men who have kids. It's mostly managers at banks, right? Like, you can build content based on the pixel data, okay? Then you engage with people. If they comment, you reply. If they share, you share back. If they like one of your posts, go like one of theirs. That's how it works, okay? Now, once, depending on the platform, you do want to post frequently. So Facebook and Instagram, historically, it's twice a week. But if you're doing things like Reels, it could be once a day. You're doing TikTok 2 times a day. If it's YouTube, once a month, right? YouTube Shorts, every day. So it depends on the platform and the style in which you're going to be promoting on said platform, okay? Now, once you do Facebook, you're going to start promoting on Meta. Meta is the back end to Facebook. Okay? It's basically competing for your marketing dollars with Google Ads. Now, what you want to do is you want to build your audiences. The audiences allow you to say, I'm building an audience group for men versus women, people with kids, without kids, people under 30, over 30. Then you're going to build posts targeted towards each group of people. You can build multiple posts for each group and let Facebook sort out which post performs better. Then what you're going to do is select the time frame, frequency, radius, and budget for each one of your ads. And then you're going to engage with these people. Now, these ads are shown to people who do not follow you. These are only shown to people who are outside of your following network. This way, if someone engages with you, you can actually invite them to like your page. The more people who follow you, the more people are going to see your posts, the more people you're going to end up getting on board. Okay? Everyone's with me so far? Okay. Next, we want to review and modify. So every system I just explained does something different. One system doesn't give you all the data, though. So your website data is going to tell you where people came from, how long they stayed, what pages are your most popular. Google Analytics is going to tell us what keywords people typed in and the times of day that they're searching. And then social analytics is going to tell you demographic and geographic details. So you take one system to improve the other. So what I mean by that, I go to Google and I look at the analytics and it says people are searching for implants at 8 o'clock at night. So I go make a Facebook post about implants at 8 o'clock at night. Then I look at the analytics and it tells me that men over the age of 65 are searching for that and are engaging with you. So we change the imagery on your website for implants to coincide with men over the age of 65. So when they land on the page, they can resonate with the imagery and they'll be more inclined to connect with you. You see how that works? Okay. Now, everything I've just explained up to this point has historically been digital. There are so many non-digital options that you can explore. So some of the things that have worked for some of our clients, flyers, they still work quite well. Radio campaigns, wrapping a bus, doing billboards, having a commercial at the beginning of a Cineplex movie theater, community sponsorships, business partnerships, and seminars. You know, at nursing homes or schools, Girl Guides, Scouts, stuff like that, okay? Some other cool ideas, packages to colleagues. Right? If there's things that you do that nobody else does, let them know. Give them a packet of information. There's presents for kids. Holidays are coming up, guys. Go get a Christmas tree or a menorah or whatever you believe in. Go to the dollar store, pick up $200-300 worth of kids' presents. Wrap them, put them under the tree. Okay? Make sure you say it's from Dr. Brandon. Now don't, when a kid comes in, now this is only for kids, right? You have to understand. You can give it to adults if you want to. I don't think they'll care, right? But don't just say, hey, go pick a present, I'm on to my next patient. Make it special for the kid, right? Like, hey, come, take my hand, pick one. Which one do you want? Which one do you want? It's yours. Don't open until Christmas, okay? Do you have any idea how much they're gonna love you for the rest of their lives? They're gonna remember you forever, and like every family that comes over to that kid's house is gonna be like, look what my dentist gave me. It was a $3 present, I could care less. But, right, like you're gonna get so many referrals from that, like it's crazy. They will never leave your office, I promise you. Again, only for kids. Plans for businesses. One of my offices is partnering with the TTC because their TTC location is literally right in front of their office. They're getting 500 employees, but they're giving all the TTC employees a 10% discount. Would you take 500 patients for a 10% discount? Yes, yes. So if there's any large corporations, go into them. Police stations even, like you can do stuff like that. Nothing's stopping you. Oh, I don't want to, I'm too shy. Do you want patients? You got to do some of the work yourself. Come on, let's go. And then partnership with sports teams. This is a great one. Hockey, football, lacrosse, anything with a mouth guard. Go in, just be like, hey, I will give you guys, $2,000, $3,000. Allow me to come in and talk to the kids about mouth guards, proper oral care. Then you give each one of them a flyer that says, hey, I will give you a free mouth guard if you come in for a new patient exam. They come in, they pay for the exam, you give them a mouth guard, and then you convert mom, dad, and siblings. So pictures, you want to update pictures, okay? Now it's very important. Yes, you can have a great logo, great smile, high-tech office, but if you're missing a key element, you have to fill your pictures with patience. No one cares that you have a cool office. They want to be able to resonate with the imagery. So something that's really interesting, if you want more patients of families, you have to include pictures of kids. As a parent, I chose my kid's dental office. He's not a client, I can't take him on as a client because there's a conflict there, but I chose my kid's dentist because he had pictures of kids in his office and he was the only one in our entire area that did. Okay, very important. You want more cosmetic procedures? Before and after pictures. Oh, they do wonders. And then if you want more patients in general, community outreach images. Next, where are you going to add the pictures? You're going to add them everywhere. Literally everywhere. To your website, to your Google, Bing, social, printed flyers, emailed newsletters. Same pictures, different platform. Because when somebody sees the same picture, they're going to be like, hey, I've seen that before, but I don't know where. It's Dr. Brandon. That's how they're going to remember you. Same pictures, different platform. Okay? Now, what's really important, anybody ever heard of alt text? ALT text? It's a form of optimization. Do not just upload a file that says image underscore XYZ2XQ. Do you think Google understands what the hell that picture is? No. So the file name needs to be what is in the picture. A pediatric young male dentist with young girl with pink glasses. In the file name, so that when you upload it and somebody goes to Google Images, they're going to see that picture there. Okay? Now, you want to combine your marketing efforts. So what I mean by that, email marketing and social media go hand in hand. Okay? So if you're going to send a newsletter to your patients, copy the message, put it on social media. Don't reinvent the wheel. Okay? Next, creative versus general brand. I am the only marketing company you will ever see that is wearing a lab coat. I promise you that. Everybody else is usually in like a suit or some sort of like branded t-shirt. So it's the same concept. Why would someone choose to go to your office versus your office? You're both amazing dentists. You both have great smiles, perfect staff, great education. Why would someone choose to come to you versus them? And that's what you have to figure out for yourself. What separates you? Okay? It could be the presence as an idea. Blogging versus search engine optimization. It's not chicken and egg. Optimization comes first. Again, no one cares if you add a blog and you don't optimize the thing. Print versus Google and Meta. Print marketing does work, but it works better in tandem with digital marketing. As an example, I could send out a flyer, 2 kilometers around your office. People just get it, they throw it out. Now they go to social media, they see an ad. Hey, I've seen that before. I don't need a dentist. Now they need a dentist, they go on Google, they have an ad pop up that says Brandon Dentistry that's like, hey, I've seen Brandon Dentistry, but I can't remember where. Let me click on him because I can trust him. They click on it, they convert, okay? Print, stock photos and videos. Stock photos are okay, guys, but it's usually only reserved for procedural images because you can't explain what an inlay or an onlay is on a real patient. Imagine trying to take a picture of that in someone's mouth and you're just expecting that the viewer of that picture understands what the hell's going on. So it's okay to use stock photos for stuff like that. Okay, and then digital and non-digital options. They both have to coexist if you want to grow. You can't solely just rely on one. More pokers in the fire, the bigger the fire, okay? Now, it's always easier to work with a professional. Listen, you could do consulting and I could train you how to become a marketing company. I could train you on everything that we do. But if we're gonna do that, we're gonna go down that path, quit dentistry and come work for me, you'll probably make more money, okay? Because people will pay you to do this, okay? Because they don't want to or because it starts to get hella complicated once you start peeling back the layers, okay? So a reputable marketing company should be updating content, fonts, colors, keywords, fixing errors on directories, updating social media, blogs, print ads, and more. This is what a marketing company should do. The benefit of working with someone like Dr. Marketing is that we have the dental expertise to do this, which means we are PIPEDA compliant. WCAG is the Website Accessibility Guidelines. We are compliant, okay? We know the content behind the procedures and we know how to explain it in a way that's not going to get you in trouble with the association. Okay, we literally have all the association's guidelines for marketing across the entire country and all the ones from the US. So we know exactly how to promote a dental office. So, common marketing mistakes. I bullet pointed for us so we can go through them quick. So, incorrect phrasing. Do not use the word best, guarantee, love, or state of the art. Now, you could kind of live in the gray with the word best. Are you looking for the best dental office? Right? Question mark. It's like, well, I didn't say that I'm the best, but like I'm kind of living in the gray there, okay? So don't just blatantly say I am the best, okay? Next, reviews. Do not respond aggressively to reviews. I had the worst time at Brandon's dental office. Yeah, well, you suck too, right? Like don't do that. I've seen that so many times, okay? And make sure you are responding because Google indexes the responses. Incentives. Do not give away money to earn reviews or referrals. It attracts the wrong type of patient. You're also not allowed to bribe patients to leave you reviews and referrals. Okay? Associations. Don't list any study groups you're part of, continuing education courses you take, or positions you hold at an association. You can't make yourself seem like you're better than someone else. Using incorrect title or designation. Okay? You don't want to call yourself the supreme dental ruler. You could just say, like, I am a dentist. Okay, as an example. Multiple websites for the same practice. Okay, that's how you get blacklisted. And then directory mistakes, right? Fix the problems because it costs you business. And then marketing. So promoting for services you don't offer, plagiarism, improper explanations, pretty self-explanatory. And then budget. Improper marketing budget. If you're spending too low, you're not getting the results you need. If it's too high, you could be overspending on basic services. I met with this office in Santa Clarita, California. They were spending about $160,000 a year in advertising. Their office makes about $9 million, okay? They're not spending enough, they should be spending more, but when we did an analysis, their budget should actually be about 70 grand for what they were getting. And they were spending 150 because the company that they were partnered with was severely overcharging them for very basic stuff, okay? So what should your marketing budget be? We interviewed about 100 marketing companies over the last few years and put together averages for you. So web design is typically between 1 to 10 grand, depending on if it's a template or a custom site. Emails will usually float and cost between $10 to $100, depending on the security features and provider. Chatbots are between $50 to $300 a month. Directory systems, updating the directories, between $50 to $300 a month. The review booster, that's the surveys, the same, $50 to $300 a month. The survey that leads patients to Google versus non-Google, right? Or versus not putting them to Google if the review came back negative. Search engine optimization, that is the dynamic version, not static. Remember, dynamic is adding locations to your static keywords, okay? It's usually $250 to $500 a month. Social, oh good, you can see the prices, right? Okay. Search or social media is usually about the same, $250 to $500. That depends on the platform and the number of posts you want. And then the average marketing company will usually charge you a percentage, 15 to 25%, to run your ads. So if your budget's $1,000, they'll charge you $200 on average to manage your $1,000. Everything added up should be 1 to 4% of annual sales. Okay, now if your office only makes 500 grand, you're probably going to be spending closer to 10 or 15%. If your office makes, like 1.5 million, you're going to be spending, and you have 3 operatories, you're probably going to be spending close to that. Okay? Now, is your marketing working? Here's a couple tips and tricks. Look at your website on all device sizes. Make sure that it formats. Okay? So when you're updating it, don't just look at it from a desktop, but look at it from your smartphone too. Okay? Next, this one, your search engine optimization. Do you remember when we were talking about the title and description, like the most important thing that Google looks at? If you want to write this trick down, I'm going to show you how to view that on your website to see if the person you're paying for optimization is actually doing their job. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go to any page of your website, and you're going to right-click from a PC. From a Mac, you just kind of have to figure that out. You're going to right-click, and you're going to click View Page Source. It will show you the code. So what you're looking for is something called title and description. Okay? It'll be in blue text what they're actually taking and putting on Google. And you'll read it, and it'll say it's like 60 characters for the title, and it's like 150 characters for the description. Okay? You'll read it, and you'll see, and you can do this from every single page. So you'll see if the person you're paying for optimization, if the title and description, if you're like, wow, this sucks. Like, I wouldn't click on this. If I read that title and description on Google, I would not click on it. It means the person you're paying for optimization understands the premise, but they don't get search engine optimization. Okay? So again, you're going to right-click, view page source, and then you're going to look for title and description. If you don't know how to do that manually, you can click Control F, which is a master find, and just type in title or description. Okay? Then blog and social, you're going to look at your pictures, your posts, your content, make sure that you are happy with what is being delivered. Okay? And then your ad spend. So patient cost is usually between $150 to $250 if we're simply talking ads, Facebook, Google ads, print ads, radio ads, stuff like that. The reason for that fluctuation historically has to do with 2 factors. 1, what procedures are you promoting for? And then 2, your staff need training. Okay? How many of you, your office staff, say this? Thank you for calling Brandon Dentistry. Where's it right now? Hang on 1 second. And the patient's like, what the hell was that? Okay, I know some of you do this. I know some of your staff do this. Cut it out, because I'm telling you right now that impacts the closing percentage. Somebody feels so off-put when they do that to their patients. Don't do that anymore. Okay? Also, the leads are not being dealt with appropriately. Okay? Somebody emails you or calls you. There's 1 email back, and then there's no follow-up beyond that. The average person needs to be touched 5 to 6 times before they even book an appointment. 5 to 6 times. You're calling them 1 time, and then you're complaining to your marketing company that you're not getting patients. Whose fault is that? Now, fun fact, Doctor Marketing has a new software that we just implemented that links all the leads that have ever called you into a system. So I'll be able to see if your staff did their job. Fun, right? New software is developing all the time. It's great. Next, a little bit about Doctor Marketing. So we are a full-service marketing company. We only deal with dental offices. We save the average office 36 hours a month. We have no-term contracts. Start today and tomorrow if you want. We're super easy. We live in a glass house. We like to take our time, be easy to understand, and offer effective and efficient service. That's our mandate. And what's really cool is that we've got partnerships with Google, Facebook, GoDaddy, Microsoft, and Constant Contact. These are billion-dollar companies, and you can find Doctor Marketing on their websites. So I mean, like, if they trust us, I think it's pretty safe to say that you can too. Okay? Now, in terms of services, we offer literally everything. There's 3 kinds of marketing. There's digital advertising, Google, Facebook, websites. There's external advertising, flyers, billboards, radio campaigns. And then there's promotional items, right? That's like RX pads, business cards, pamphlets, flyers, brochures, pens, stickers, magnets, calendars. Like, we can literally do everything. Doesn't matter what you need. If your logo goes on it, we can do it. Okay? Now, I put together some case studies because I wasn't sure who was going to be here. Different types of offices. Okay? Different locations, different budgets, different expectations. My lowest spending office spends $100 a month with us. My most expensive office spends just about $45,000 a month. One office is an orthodontist in Houston. Okay? So every single office has different different budgets, different expectations, different locations. But understand when it comes to advertising, every single person needs to start basic. We have to understand from an analytical standpoint where the money should actually go. If somebody tries to pitch you marketing services right from day one that says, hey, it's nice to meet you, here's what we do, and by the way, you want 30 patients, I'll take $5,000 a month. What is wrong with the office if they agree to spend $5,000 a month off of someone that they've met for an hour? And then you're complaining that the marketing's not working. It's because you haven't taken the time to assess where the marketing dollars need to go. So usually things like search engine optimization, ads, social, print, marketing, all of it has to take a back seat. Because if I can look at the analytics and I can say, hey, here's how many clicks you're getting based off of these services, what do you think I'm going to be targeting? Those services, those locations, those platforms, because I can track from an analytical standpoint where the money should go. Okay? So what you don't want to do is take your money, throw it against the wall. That worked, but then you're looking at all the wasted money down here. Okay? Go slow with it. Okay? You don't have to rush through this, but I promise you, once you go through it properly, it'll be much more effective. Wow, we did this in time, record time, even though we were late starting. Great job, guys. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, scan this. It's a QR code. It goes to our website. It's a contact form. One of our experts will reach out to you, discuss what your goals are, and figure out how we can help. There's also a lead sheet on the back if you just want to write your contact information. There's flyers, but I'll also be at the back for another few minutes answering any questions, okay? All right, thanks everybody.